A double shooting overnight sends 2 to hospital, 1 in life-threatening condition. Police are now investigating. Good afternoon. Crime tape surrounds a townhouse complex in Toronto's King West Village after gunshots were fired, injuring 2 people.
No arrests have been made yet. CTV's Beth McDonnell is live on the scene with more reaction from residents in the area. Beth?
This double shooting has really rattled people living in and around this townhouse complex. It's near Liberty Village on Sudbury Street near King Street West. Toronto police say around 2:30 this morning, a man and a woman in their 30s were shot, and it appears some type of chase was underway at the time. There was a pair of heeled shoes in the driveway of the townhouses, and if you look deeper into the complex, you can see a purse and clothing and some blood on steps, all next to evidence markers. It also appears some of the gunfire ended up hitting one of the townhouses directly. You can see this broken window. CTV News is told the family living there is okay. Still, there is a lot of concern from people as to what transpired here.
I live across the street. It was around like 2:30. There was a girl like screaming and like crying for help, and it sounded really scary. I peeked outside my window and I like called 911. And like I couldn't get through, which was kind of scary as well. But as I was trying to make those calls, we heard like cop cars come in, and it just like there was like a man, and they surrounded.
It's mind-blowing. I mean, you hearing about crimes, Scarborough, and it's getting worse, but it's never happened like so close to this. It's a family. It's lots of kids there, and then you see that the bullets flying into the apartment. Of course, it's a big, thick question mark.
Officers say the man who was shot was rushed to hospital in life-threatening condition, the woman in non-life-threatening condition. A lot of police officers are here investigating. So far, no word on a suspect or suspects. Reporting live, I'm Beth McDonnell. Pauline, back to you.
Thank you, Beth. And a second arrest has been made in the fatal shooting of an international student who was struck by a stray bullet in Hamilton. 21-year-old Harsimrat Randhawa died on April 17th after being hit while waiting for a bus at Upper James and South Bend Road. Police say 26-year-old Obasia Okafor was arrested yesterday in North York and charged with 3 counts of attempted murder. A 32-year-old man was charged with first-degree murder in the case on Tuesday. Police say at least 7 people in 4 cars were involved in a dispute that led to the shooting. Meantime, Toronto police say a 3rd teen is in custody after a deadly stabbing last month in the Beaches. 14-year-old Abdulaziz Sar was stabbed inside a McDonald's near Coxwell and Eastern Avenue on July 5th. 2 16-year-old boys had previously surrendered to police. Now the homicide unit says a 3rd 16-year-old has turned himself in. All 3 suspects face a charge of first-degree murder.
And Toronto police have upgraded the charges laid in a downtown shooting over the weekend. Police responded to shots fired near John and Adelaide Streets around 10:30 Saturday night. They found 36-year-old Jeshua Gabriel Bakun suffering from gunshot wounds. They also believe he was struck by a vehicle at the scene. Yesterday, investigators shared the news the victim had died in hospital. 26-year-old Mitch Rambali and 22-year-old Steve Ganesh were already in custody on other charges. An aggravated assault charge against Rambali has now been changed to second-degree murder.
A 17-year-old is in hospital after a stabbing incident in the Kensington Market area last night. Paramedics say it happened shortly before 1 a.m. The victim was taken to hospital in serious condition. Police say the victim, a 17-year-old girl, was involved in a dispute with 2 other females who fled the scene. The investigation is ongoing.
Gunfire rang out in a residential neighborhood in the Highway 27 and Finch area last night. Police responded to the scene at an apartment building at 136 Westmore Drive. Multiple shell casings were found in the parking lot, and a bullet hole can be seen in the window of a second-floor apartment unit. But police say they have not located anyone who's injured. This shooting occurred just after 8 p.m. Still ahead on CTV News at noon, a new snapshot of the Canadian economy. StatsCan releases the job numbers for July. The latest look at the labor market and how it's doing a little later in the newscast. Tennis star Victoria Mboko has completed her amazing run in Montreal, winning the National Bank Open final against Naomi Osaka.
In the process, the 18-year-old from Burlington has secured her spot in the history books. CTV's John Musselman is live in North York with more. John?
Hi, Pauline. Yes, a very thrilling match last night. We're getting some local reaction to Victoria's victory and what it means for Canadian tennis.
Overcome with emotion, Victoria Mboko dropped to her knees after winning the National Bank Open final in Montreal last night.
What an incredible story.
The 18-year-old who grew up in Burlington is the latest Canadian tennis star climbing towards the top of the tennis world.
To have such an achievement at a tournament like this is really a milestone for me, and I'm just so happy that I obviously don't have this whole experience in Montreal. And overall, I didn't have many risks, but I just feel so content and so happy.
Mboko rallied from a first-set loss to defeat four-time Grand Slam winner Naomi Osaka of Japan.
She was patient out there. She really was selective in when she would go for it with a big shot, whether it was on her forehand or backhand or another big serve.
Mboko has jumped in the world rankings up to 25th in women's singles. Meanwhile, back in Toronto, Mboko's win caused a brief pause in the men's final when the crowd broke out in cheers. The players seemed a bit confused at first until they realized what the cheering was all about. Meanwhile, local tennis players and fans say Mboko's win is great for the growth of Canadian tennis.
She's the real deal. I think she's going to be a top player in years to come.
Well, I think it was great for Canadian tennis and great for women's tennis and great for juniors. There's a lot of great things that happen. She's a great role model.
Mboko will take a bit of a break as she prepares for the U.S. Open at the end of the month.
And some local tennis players we were speaking with today said when they were watching the match last night, they were just so impressed at how she stayed with it even after losing that first set, the determination to pull through and get the victory. Reporting live, I'm John Musselman. I'll send it back to you.
Thanks, John. And while most eyes were on Victoria Mboko's NBO win in Montreal, there was also the men's final at Sobeys Stadium in Toronto. 22-year-old American Ben Shelton beat Russian Karen Khachanov in 3 sets. It's his first ATP Tour win of the season and third of his career. Shelton will move up 1 position to a career-best 6th spot when the new world rankings are released on Monday.
And outside we go on this Friday. Another sunny summer weekend lies ahead. No shortage of heat, no shortage of sunshine in store. Wondering if that haze will leave us. Our Jessica Smith is out and about in the city. She's in Grange Park, where clearly there's some fun stuff going on there this afternoon.
Listen, Michelle, they have free snow cones, cotton candy, popcorn. I think I picked the right place to be on location today. It is hot, though. We're still seeing that bit of a haze in the air, but it has noticeably gotten better, and that will continue as we head throughout the day today and stepping in towards your weekend. It is hot outside, very, very humid. We are going to continue to see that heat sticking around as we head throughout our afternoon today, climbing well into the 30s. Now, we're not doing much in the way of seeing relief from the winds, but overall, at least it's dry. We're looking at some spotty showers up towards Owen Sound and along those eastern shorelines of Lake Huron and Georgian Bay, but for the most part, the GTA staying nice and dry. We're in the mid-20s, feeling into the low to mid-30s, and it only gets hotter as we head into the afternoon. Through the islands, through Pearson, we're seeing kind of 25, 27 apiece, but already feeling close to 33 and 34. And this afternoon, 30, feeling like 37. Now, we're not in heat warning criteria yet, but we'll keep a close eye on that. More on your full forecast coming up. I'm going to go get a snow cone. I'm going to send things back over to you guys.
Oh, lucky you. Thank you, Jess. To other news now, 6 people have been displaced after a residential fire in the Annex overnight. Flames broke out on Brunswick Street, just south of Bloor, around 12:30. Toronto Fire says this 2-alarm blaze started in the basement of a house. Occupants were inside the home at the time, but were able to escape to safety. Crews knocked down the flames, but remain on scene to continue to watch for hot spots.
A motorcyclist has been taken to hospital after a crash last night in Whitby. A badly damaged speed bike could be seen lying in the roadway near Dundas and Lake Ridge. A white SUV was also significantly damaged on its rear passenger side. It's unclear how seriously injured the motorcyclist is.
Canada's latest Job numbers are in for the month of July. The data showing the Canadian economy shed about 41,000 jobs in July, partially offsetting a gain of 83,000 positions in June. The unemployment rate remains steady at 6.9%. Statistics Canada says July's losses were concentrated in full-time work and in the private sector. The agency says youth saw the biggest employment drop amid a tough summer jobs market. Meanwhile, the tariff-sensitive manufacturing industry saw a second month of modest job gains.
Air Canada and the union representing 10,000 of its flight attendants are returning to the bargaining table today. Today's talks are an attempt to avoid a strike that could begin in 1 week. It comes after union members voted overwhelmingly in favor of a strike mandate. It means flight attendants can potentially walk off the job as soon as August 16th with at least 72 hours notice provided. The airline says it is not considering flight cancellations or postponements yet. Instead, it is focusing on reaching a deal.
A bill tabled by the Ford government that would give City Council the power to remove members for misbehavior is getting some pushback. The legislation would standardize municipal codes of conduct and give councils the power to vacate the seat of members who violate that code. Currently, conduct violations are referred to an integrity commissioner who provides a report to council. Council can then vote to reprimand or suspend the member. The new rules would require a unanimous vote to remove a councillor. Critics say that process is flawed, as the person in question would only have to find one person to align with them to save their seat.
Shoppers will get their first look at Hudson-based stripes under the Canadian Tire brand later this year. Canadian Tire CEO Greg Hicks says the company will release some updates and fun initiatives in the coming months. But the launch of a more meaningful product presence will happen in the back half of 2026. HBC sold its intellectual property to Canadian Tire for $30 million in May. And it's that time of year again when post-secondary students need to start looking for places to stay in the upcoming school year.
Finding the right place for the right price can be very tricky, especially with the rise in rental scams. CTV's Alexandra Hollick reports.
Yeah, I was really feeling a lot of, that I had been duped.
Corbin Kleinveld is facing the truth after falling for a fake rental listing last August.
I was desperate to get my own place.
The Conestoga College student says he scoured the internet, finding a Kitchener basement apartment on Kijiji that was pet-friendly and within his price range.
That looked good to me. I was like, oh, this, jump on this.
So he did. Kleinveld says he wasn't able to see the place in person, but the photos shared were enough to convince him. He says he sent the person listing the unit $2,700. First and last month's rent.
They didn't exist.
Kleinveld reported the incident to police, who say he isn't alone.
As we ramp up towards the school year, there have been 10 reported incidents similar to this type of rental scam fraud.
When it comes to spotting a scam, experts all point to one telltale sign. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
If you see something is significantly discounted, that is to get attention.
Low rates can reel people in, especially when they're in a pinch to find a place.
And in doing so, they send e-transfers for usually first and last month's rent, usually a couple $1,000 in most cases, without even viewing or seeing.
Police say newcomers and students are a scammer's target audience.
Coming from other countries, and that they aren't familiar with the processes.
But since anyone can fall for a scam, post-secondary institutions recommend all students searching for housing check in with them first.
Making sure that you're looking at those places that your institutions offer you to look at first as well, before going out into that private market.
In Kleinveld's case, he says he's still waiting for his funds to be recovered, but offers this advice.
Don't let your ego get in the way because one of the reasons I sent the money was because my family kept on telling me not to. And then I got hurt.
Police are also urging anyone who may think they've spotted a scam to come forward and make a report to help prevent others from falling for it in the future. Alexandra Hollick, CTV News.
Prime Minister Mark Carney will be in Trenton today, where he's expected to make an announcement related to the Canadian Armed Forces. Carney told reporters yesterday that he planned to spend time working with CAF on building security and defense while in Trenton. The Prime Minister will also tour a military facility. The visit comes after Canada and NATO allies agreed to substantially hike members' spending targets to 5% of the annual GDP by 2035.
Advanced polls are now open in an Alberta by-election that could return Pierre Poilievre to the House of Commons. Voters can now cast their ballots in the riding of Battle River Crowfoot. The Conservative member there stepped aside to allow his party leader to run in the by-election set for August 18th. Poilievre is a candidate after losing his Ottawa seat, long-held Ottawa seat, in the April federal by-election. Now, for this by-election, voters must fill out a blank ballot for the first time ever, as a record 214 candidates are running. The majority of the other candidates are part of a protest group calling for changes to Canada's electoral system. Yesterday, Poilievre criticized the longest ballot campaign that also targeted his riding in the general election.
But that's not what these people are doing. They're adding their names even though they're not campaigning. They don't expect to win. They just want to inundate the ballot to confuse the situation, make it harder for people to vote. People with vision problems, the elderly, others who have difficulty are going to have a harder time voting, and it shouldn't be allowed.
Advanced polls are open from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. for the next 4 days there.
Turning now to the U.S., President Donald Trump's global trade war now in full effect. Countries worldwide facing between 10 and 50% tariffs on imports into the United States.
It comes as Canada is still seeking certainty on trade negotiations. CTV's Mike Lecouteur has more on where Canada stands and how the tariffs could hurt Americans.
Yes, we're having discussions with the Americans.
Prime Minister Carney wouldn't say when he'll next speak to U.S. President Donald Trump, but Ontario's premier didn't mince words when asked about how Canadians see the American leader.
He's probably the most disliked politician in the world in Canada.
In an interview on CNN, Doug Ford tried to explain to Americans that these tariffs are hurting them.
When you see 37,000 Americans have lost their jobs, that can't pay the rent or can't pay a mortgage, put food on their table, and this is just going to grow even more.
A new report from Yale University shows the current tariffs will hit American consumers.
We're expecting an adjustment of about over $2,000 to, their real household income and sort of purchasing power.
The impact could be felt in back-to-school shopping, as the tariffs will make shoes 40% more expensive, and the price of other clothes will rise by 38% because of import duties. Meantime, the impact on Canada's economy is being measured by the Royal Bank. In June, 92% of Canadian exports crossed into the U.S. duty-free because they are covered under the current trade agreement, leaving 8% subject to punishing tariffs.
That portion of trade is unfortunately facing an average tariff rate of 30%.
Still, the overall impact on the Canadian economy is relatively small at this point, but sectors like steel and aluminum continue to suffer. While campaigning ahead of his by-election in Alberta, Pierre Poilievre criticized Carney's handling of the trade talks.
He's been bending over backwards for the president and so far has gotten nothing in return.
Canada is also pushing back against Trump's threat of a 100% tariff on semiconductor imports based on national security grounds. Now, in 2022, Canada exported $1.4 billion worth to the U.S., and a spokesperson for Global Affairs Canada said Canadian semiconductors are not a threat to national security. Mike Lecouteur, CTV News, Ottawa.
In Atlantic Canada, authorities are having trouble finding accommodations for people fleeing wildfires on Newfoundland's Avalon Peninsula. That is where the largest blaze in the province is burning. The Red Cross and Salvation Army are working to help evacuees find a place to stay, but the government says accommodations are severely limited there now. The Kingston fire on the western shore of Conception Bay has expanded towards a community. Environment Canada has issued a heat warning for the northern area of the peninsula, with the forecast calling for midday temperatures to reach 30 degrees.
In the Middle East, Israel's security cabinet has approved a plan to expand military operations in the Gaza Strip and take control of Gaza City. Israel says it is an effort to end the war with Hamas, but there is international opposition to the decision. The UK says seizing Gaza City is wrong and asked the Israelis to reconsider. Australia urged Israel to, quote, not go down this path. The European Union is also asking the Israelis to reconsider, saying the decision will likely have consequences for EU-Israel relations. And Germany will not authorize exports of military equipment to Israel that could be used in Gaza until further notice.
The Federal Fisheries Department is shedding new light on its relationship with OceanGate, the American company behind the deep-sea Titan submersible that imploded south of Newfoundland. The department confirms in the summer of 2021, a staff member boarded a vessel associated with OceanGate to observe during a mission. Officials say it was determined the company's priorities did not align with the department's scientific objectives. Earlier this week, the U.S. Coast Guard released a report that concluded the tragedy on June 18, 2023 could have been prevented had OceanGate's CEO heeded safety warnings and calls for independent inspections. Let's go outside to Jessica Smith now.
You know, it's going to be one of those days you want to keep an eye on how you're feeling. It is hot, it is humid, but hey, it's a Friday in the summertime and we're all enjoying it. If you're heading out to the beach later, maybe you're coming down here to Grange Park to get some of those free snow cones, you're going to want to make sure you have sun protection and lots of water. Temperature-wise this afternoon, it gets hot and it stays hot. We're looking at a humidex value of 37, UV index very high. Coming up, I'll have a full look at your long-range forecast, including what you can expect for the weekend. It gets hotter, it gets even more humid. I'll have all those details coming up after the break.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400 from your screen to ours. Text 10400.
Well, it's another scorcher today, but that's not such a bad thing when you're heading into the weekend. People looking forward to some outdoors activities.
Pauline, we're getting our dose of summer. I mean, it seems we've had so many hot weekends, and now all weekend we're into the 30s. Definitely great for activities. And our Jessica Smith is at Grange Festival. It looks like so much fun there. What a fabulous way to spend a Friday afternoon and enjoy the city. Summers in the city are the best.
It truly is, and there's never not a festival happening somewhere in the city or in the GTA, and that's my favorite part about living in this area because it's just so nice. And they had me at snow cones, popcorn, and cotton candy. But if you're spending time outside today, really check in on yourself. Water is so key to enjoying the summer safely. Weather is brought to you by the Presler Law Firm. Injury lawyers, you don't pay unless they win. Now, we're seeing a bit of a ridge in the jet stream. That means everybody in the province is feeling the warmth and the heat, and it's going to get hot and stay hot as we head right throughout the weekend. So keep that in mind if you're spending any time outdoors. Right now, 27 here in the city, feeling like 33. Windsor's at 28. A little bit of a cool down in extreme northern Ontario, but overall, it's comfortable. We're still contending with wildfire smoke impacting northern Ontario and parts of southern Ontario, but you'll notice an improvement today. Definitely still seeing a little bit of a haze, but it is much better than yesterday. Now, as we head in towards our afternoon, we'll see a daytime high above that seasonal average of about 27. We'll sit at 30. It will feel like 37, and you feel that humidity, that stickiness in the air that's hanging out with us throughout the entire day today. So again, just be careful spending time outdoors. Now, we do have some heat warnings in northern Ontario and statements in towards southern Quebec for the heat. We'll see if that pops up for us here in the GTA. I would not be surprised as the heat is on heading into the day tomorrow. Tonight dropping down to 22, well above that seasonal average, and everybody kind of Toronto towards London holding on to the warmth. It's a little closer to seasonal through Peterborough, but really not by much. Any active weather today staying along those eastern shorelines of Lake Huron and Georgian Bay. We're looking at maybe a little bit of a disturbance for us here, but the bulk of the active weather in northern Ontario. Now, as we time out the rest of our day today, I know maybe some people are still working. Maybe they're watching us from a cottage. I'm a little jealous. It's beautiful outside, but we are looking at some spotty showers into that late afternoon period. But it clears out as we make our way through the overnight and into the day tomorrow. Again, all that active weather sticking in areas north of the city and further east. It is hot, humid, and sunny as we head throughout our Saturday, and that continues into our Sunday. So again, if you're heading up to cottage country, or maybe you're going out towards Ottawa, maybe you're going over towards Windsor, it'll be beautiful no matter where you are. Now, temperature-wise, We do step into what is going to be heat warning criteria as we head through your Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Now, what qualifies for a heat warning is different depending on where you are in the province, from that extreme southwestern corner down towards Windsor, Chatham-Kents area, through the GTA, through Northern Ontario. What qualifies a heat warning is very different, but for us, we do fall into heat warning criteria as we head through our Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, and now Tuesday. So enjoy the weather, but you got to do it safely. Now, if you're heading out today to Grange Park, make sure you hydrate. As you're making your way throughout your weekend, say you're heading to the Argos game on Saturday at 3 p.m. That's kind of that peak sun period. Be careful. I know everyone loves to be outside and enjoying all the heat, but you have to really think about the time you're spending outdoors. Now, as we head throughout Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, we stay in that kind of low 30 range with our temperatures, but still feeling in the mid to upper 30s. So get out. Enjoy the activities, have so much fun, but check on the people around you and your pets as well. If it's too hot for you, it's too hot for them. Hopefully this helps you plan. They've got music here, they've got snacks. I'm having a great time. My camera operator Carol's having a great time, but we're gonna send things back into the studio.
Do you think they'll let you and Carol on that bouncy castle?
They can't stop me. I'm just kidding, I'll ask.
All right, thank you, Jess.
Thanks.
We're going to take you now to a big story in the world of tennis. And in Canadian sports, Burlington's own Victoria Mboko's sensational win at the National Bank Open last night. We want to bring in the CTV's Kamal Karamali, who's following the story. Kamal, there's so many reasons why this win is remarkable. First, tell us and remind us about her journey from a wild card, then making it to the National Bank Open finals, and then becoming really a household name here in Canada.
Well, let's go even further back. Starting in 2025, she was ranked around the world as 333rd, and this has skyrocketed her to number 24 in the world. So just showing you how remarkable of a story this is. You know, she came into this tournament almost as an unknown, a wild card, and now becoming a Canadian household name. Have a listen.
The maiden of Montreal. At just 18 years of age, Victoria Mboko completes a magnificent run to her first tour title.
First career WTA title and the third ever Canadian to win the National Bank Open. And to make this story even more remarkable, she is from Burlington, Ontario, but also winning this on Canadian soil in Montreal. And even more so, she did it with an injured wrist that she sustained on Wednesday. It was heavily taped up during the finals match. She dropped the first set, making a lot of people question whether she had the ability to do it, but then coming back and storming back, not just against anybody, but against four-time Grand Slam champion Naomi Osaka, now taking home over $1 million Canadian in prize money. That's nearly double the prize money she's made her whole career so far. Her journey here to the National Bank Open title, also a difficult one. That she defeated 4 Grand Slam champions in a single tournament, the second youngest player in the Open era to do so. The only person that was younger than her that accomplished that feat was a little-known player by the name of Serena Williams. So already putting her name up against one of, or with one of the greats. Have a listen to what she had to say after the win.
To do something like this and to tell my younger self that just to keep training, keep believing in yourself, and like, oh my God, I'm getting so emotional right now.
And so a beautiful victory and a lot more to come for Mboko.
She's only 18 years old. It's incredible. And when you hear her speak, she seems so down to earth, so chill, despite, you know, the magnitude of what she's done. It does make you wonder what comes next for her.
Yeah, it also makes you wonder what I've done with my life. I couldn't even put my life together at the age of 18 or do anything, let alone win a title of that magnitude. But she was supposed to play in the Cincinnati Open. Now, through her surge in ranking, being ranked in the top 25, is bypassing that tournament and will now be seated at the coveted U.S. Open. So that is a big deal that is happening in late August. As for the more than $1 million Canadian that she's earned, she can't think of anything she'd like to do with the prize money so far, just saying that she really wants to spend some time with friends and family, and very, very well deserved.
Oh, absolutely. CTV's Kamal Karamali in the National Newsroom. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Michelle.
We're going to take a quick break. More when we return.
Some serious allegations are being leveled against St. Joseph's Healthcare in London, Ontario. A report published by the Investigative Journalism Bureau in partnership with Post Media alleges dogs are being tested and killed for human heart research.
CTV's Rita Ismail has more and a warning. Some viewers may find the content in this story disturbing.
According to an article published in the National Post today by the Investigative Journalism Bureau, researchers inside St. Joseph's Lawson Research Institute studying heart attack recovery in humans are using dogs as stand-ins. Robert Cribb, founder of Investigative Journalism Bureau, spoke to two staffers who allege animal cruelty during the research.
They call it the secret sixth floor, and it's there that they undergo these procedures, which are effectively inducing heart attacks in the dogs to study heart failure and recovery. And they can go on for as long as 3 hours, according to the internal study protocol documents that we looked at.
The program is not something new. Sources tell CTV News it has been ongoing for years, citing a research paper from 2019 showing medical images of canine hearts being used in studies. In a statement to CTV News, St. Joseph's Hospital does not deny research involving canines is being conducted. However, it says the story contains several inaccuracies of fact. It goes on to explain the purpose of the research is to learn more about how to accurately image post-heart attack injury and healing that we cannot yet decipher using other models. The hospital says respect, excellence, and compassion are foundational to their ethical care and treatment of animals in research. However, the whistleblowers allege otherwise.
Through photos and video, they're caged. There appears to be no beds in the cages. There's feces. Post-surgery, they are. There's certainly video and descriptions of high-pitched whining.
Meanwhile, St. Joseph's maintains that they are regulated and guided by rigorous policies and procedures for high-quality animal care by provincial and national bodies. Animal testing is governed by the Ministry of Agriculture, Food and Agribusiness. In a statement to CTV News, Press Secretary Spencer Fair says, as reported, this research facility received federal funding for their research, and we expect the federal government to ensure its funding recipients operate ethically, transparently, and in accordance with Ontario law. Animal activists argue there are alternatives to animal experimentation.
We just know that there are serious questions about whether this research is needed or useful, and that non-animal methods are being explored in cutting-edge science around the world. And certainly Canada is falling behind, and St. Joseph's is falling behind.
CTV News reached out to LHSC to see if similar procedures were being used in research. In a statement, the hospital says at London Health Sciences Centre Research Institute, we conduct some studies with mice, rats, and frogs. Some studies also include pigs. Our studies do not involve dogs or any other animals.
Cardiac arrest and heart failure is, of course, an issue that affects millions of Canadians, and it's vitally important. The debate is over whether we need to kill dogs to do that.
Animal Justice says their main focus continues to be the rehoming of these animals as they continue to urge hospitals to release them. Rita Ismail, CTV News.
And CTV has not been able to independently verify some of the claims made in the IJB report.
Public health officials say 8 more measles cases have been added to the provincial tally. This year, case counts have soared to highs not seen in decades as part of an outbreak linked to travel to New Brunswick last fall. More than 2,300 infections have since been linked to the outbreak, with most recent spread in the province's northwest and southwest. The report noted there were 0 reported cases still believed to be in a period where they could spread the virus, but officials said continued vigilance is needed.
There is a product safety recall to warn you about. This alert has to do with Chatty's brand Visors, which have a rechargeable fan attached to them. Health Canada warns the charging cord could cause burns or a fire when plugged in. 3 incidents have already been reported in this country, no injuries. Nearly 900 of these visors were sold at Giant Tiger locations. Customers are advised to stop using them and to return them for a full refund.
Following the death of Ozzy Osbourne, reports this week suggest a film about his life is moving ahead. Back in 2021, Sony announced it was planning to make a biopic about the rock legend and his wife and manager, Sharon Osbourne. Few updates have been provided since then, but a representative for the companies behind the effort told Variety this week that the project is still alive and negotiations are underway with a director. Ozzy Osbourne died of a heart attack July 22nd at the age of 76 after years of health issues.
Exciting news for fans of The Office. The first trailer is out for an upcoming spin-off series.
My name is Ned Sampson. I am your new editor-in-chief.
Have you read this paper?
Uh-huh.
How do you think it compares to any other paper?
It sucks.
This series focuses on a different kind of office, one shared between a struggling newspaper and a toilet paper company. It tells the story of one journalist's mission to revitalize the paper with the help of a ragtag group of staffers. It replicates the same mockumentary style that The Office was well known for and promises the return of some familiar faces. The paper debuts September 4th. The Toronto International Film Festival is unveiling more of its lineup for its 50th anniversary edition. Today's announcements included the Wavelengths program, which celebrates international cinema, as well as more experimental and contemporary selections. The lineup features the North American premiere of Magellan, starring Gael Garcia Bernal and directed by Lav Diaz, and the North American premiere of Nicolas Paredes' Copper. It also features post-apocalyptic film Mare's Nest from director Ben Rivers. The full TIFF schedule will be live next week with ticket sales to follow. TIFF 50 takes place September 4th through the 14th.
The Weeknd returned to the stage at Rogers Centre last night. It was the third of four Toronto shows for the Scarborough native on his After Hours Till Dawn tour. This tour marks the last time the artist Abel Tesfaye plans to perform under his stage name The Weeknd. Concert number 4 is scheduled for this evening. And a reminder, if you are taking the subway to tonight's concert or elsewhere, service on Line 2 will be ending early between Woodbine and Kennedy stations because of planned track work. Shuttle buses will run from 11 p.m. to the end of service. And a heads up for Sunday, Line 2 service will start at 11 a.m. between St. George and Chester stations, so crews can carry out structural maintenance.
Still to come on CTV News at noon. If you have travel plans this summer, you may want to check your medical insurance. One woman is very upset. Her claim was denied. The story after the break.
Get Toronto's top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
If you are traveling outside of Canada, it's important to have travel medical insurance in case you're injured or become ill.
That's because Ontario's health insurance plan, OHIP, will not cover medical expenses if you are hospitalized outside the country. CTV's Pat Foran has this consumer alert.
I was heartbroken and astonished.
Myra Nelson of Richmond Hill says it was in January of 2023 when she went to Boca Raton, Florida to help a friend.
I went to the United States to help a friend sell her condominium in Florida.
Before she went, she paid for a travel medical insurance policy. In Florida, she became ill, suffered cardiac arrest, and ended up in the hospital for 2 weeks.
Now they want all this money from me, although I did have medical health insurance.
Her claim was denied because she had a kidney condition, something she didn't mention because she doesn't take medication for it. In August of 2024, more than a year after she was hospitalized, she got a bill for almost $300,000.
I'm 90 years of age. I'm a senior on fixed income, and I did not do anything wrong.
She was insured with Manulife, a spokesperson told CTV News. Because this matter is now before the courts, we're not able to comment at this time. However, it's important for travel insurance customers to be aware of everything they know about their health to ensure they get the right coverage.
These types of situations are incredibly unfortunate.
The Travel Health Insurance Association says it's important to make sure you disclose every possible health issue when purchasing travel medical insurance.
There might be situations, for instance, where you might think, well, it's not a serious condition. The important thing is, always disclose.
If in doubt, check with your doctor before traveling
to make sure that they're not making notations in your file that might be uncovered at time of claim.
I just need help.
Nelson says she is stressed and uncertain how to deal with the massive bill.
I'm very upset about it. I cannot cope with it. It's very hard coping with the fact that I owe all this money and I can't pay it.
Pat Foran, CTV News.
Well, it looks like July was a relatively good month for renters across the country. The national average asking rent was down 3.6% last month compared to a year earlier. That put the price at just over $2,100 and marked the 10th straight month-over-year decrease. It was also the largest drop of 2025 so far. The figures come from the latest monthly report from rentals.ca and Urbanation. It showed Nova Scotia had the largest decline in July rents, followed by BC and then Ontario. Asking rents were down 3% here to an average of just over $2,300.
The parent company of Tim Hortons is reporting some mixed results for its latest quarter. Restaurant Brands International says it was the coffee chain as well as its international segment that helped lead the charge for the 3-month period. The food conglomerate's Burger King brand also saw a boost in foot traffic south of the border as it offered more value meals in the face of dwindling consumer spending. RBI's revenue beat estimates at $2.41 billion U.S., although higher expenses meant earnings fell short of forecasts.
As tech companies invest heavily in artificial intelligence, the makers of ChatGPT have debuted the latest version of the popular chatbot. Tech giant OpenAI revealed ChatGPT 5 on Thursday. The company says the update is better at coding, writing, and answering medical questions. It also promises fewer instances of so-called hallucinations. That's when the chat tool makes up information when it doesn't know how to respond to a question. Many critics have expressed concerns about AI and its potential to provide wrong information to users, as well as its impact on creative industries and the environment.
And coming up, he's running across the country 50 kilometers every day. We catch up with a man they call Satch in Motion as his mental health mission rolled through Toronto. Sachin Laddie is on a very important mission, a mission of endurance and empathy.
He is 2,200 kilometers into a cross-country run to raise awareness about mental health, and he was in Toronto last night. It was day 53 of the journey by one of Canada's biggest advocates for mental health, particularly for first responders. His goal is to shine a light on the issue and to encourage people to donate. But that's not all. Laddie is focused on engaging with people all along the way. He says it's not a race. He wants to connect with them and hear from those who want to talk about their own mental health journey.
Impacting in a small way their lives by what I'm doing and raising awareness for this cause that we're all kind of struggling with. I don't know a single person in the entire country that I've met doesn't know somebody or isn't affected with some sort of mental health issue. So I truly believe that this is an existential threat.
On average, a normal person would see 3 to 4 traumatic events in their life. A first responder sees up to 700 to 800, in their career. So the things that we see and the things that we do, it obviously affects our mental health. So I think it's important to, 1, normalize talking about it, and 2, to bring it to the forefront and raise the funds for these people that need the help that, that they well deserve.
More than 1,000 people have joined Laddie on legs of his run since his journey began in Victoria, BC, back on June 16th. Together, they brought in more than $25,000 to date, and that's in addition to more than $100,000 he's raised over the past 5 years.
Well, good luck to him with the rest of his run. Hopefully he has good weather. Speaking of weather, a final word on the weather from Jessica Smith. Hi, Jess.
Hi, it is hot. Obviously, we're in the dog days of summer, but the good news is if you're spending time outside today, maybe you're coming down to Grange Park, maybe you're heading away for the weekend, temperature-wise right across Southern Ontario, even Northern Ontario, it is so nice. We do climb into the kind of low 30 range as we head into your Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and almost into Wednesday. So just keep in mind it is going to be hot and very humid. Hydrate, lots of sun protection, and breaks in the shade are key. It is a fabulous day, so if you can get out, I do recommend, but just be careful. Again, we're down here at Grange Park for Grange Fest. There's music, there's snow cones, there's kids having fun. We're going to wave and say goodbye and wish everybody a happy weekend, happy Friday, happy weekend. We'll see you guys later. Have a great weekend, stay safe, and we'll see you tonight at 5 and 6. Say bye, guys. Bye. Happy Friday.
Bye. We can hear you, we can't see you, but we know you're there.
Bye, and have a great weekend. That's CTV News at noon. Remember, you can get Toronto's breaking news all day long on CP24 and on our website, ctvnewstoronto.ca.
For Jessica Smith and the whole team here, have a pleasant afternoon. I'm Michelle Dubé.
And I'm Pauline Chan. Be sure to join us later for CTV News at 5 and 6.